Okay, let me show you something pretty cool. AI is already good at searching the web, summarizing stuff and generating output. But when you actually want it to use websites like a normal person would, that's usually where things start falling apart. So what I'm doing here is connecting Gologin to Codex, which basically gives the AI a real cloud browser to work with. And once you do that, it can actually go out and do browser tasks for you instead of just talking about them. And that's the fun part here. The setup is actually pretty approachable. So if you want an AI to log into site, browse around social media, pull data from more protected pages like Amazon or LinkedIn, or do some actual browser-based workflow, that's usually where things get a little bit messy. That's really the gap Gologin fills. Because once the AI can operate on websites instead of just reading from them and talking about them, it becomes a lot more useful. So the basic idea here is that AI needs a real browser layer. That's what Gologin is giving us. It gives us API-controlled cloud browser profiles, and those can run with real proxies from around the world, including residential ones. So instead of the AI trying to access websites in a way that looks obviously automated, it gets a proper browser sessions it can control. That means it can open pages, click around, scroll, interact with sites, and do all the normal browser stuff. So the flow is pretty simple. Gologin launches the browser profile, attaches a proxy, and then Codex controls that session and does whatever tasks you asked for. And because this all runs in the cloud, you can spin up multiple browser sessions from chat, which is really nice. So yeah. This is obviously useful for developers, but honestly, it's also useful for marketers, researchers, sales teams, founders, pretty much anyone who wants AI to do real browser-based work. All right, so let's set this up. First, you need a Gologin account. You'll need an API token and ideally some built-in proxies, ideally residential proxy traffic. To generate an API token, just go to API and NCP menu in the Gologin dashboard and create a new token here by clicking this new token button. The token is blurred, but you can copy it here and you'll need to use it later in this setup. You can use any third-party proxies here, but for getting started, the built-in proxies are just fine. If you don't have any proxy traffic available, you just go to proxies dropdown here in the left-hand side menu and choose the proxy type and the amount of traffic you want to purchase. Then create a directory for this project. Just go to the location you want to create a project folder, go to new folder and name it whatever you want. Here I'm using the Codex IDE extension for Visual Studio Code because I want more control and because the way I can keep all the things in one place, but you can use a standalone Codex app for this setup as well. Then go to Visual Studio Code and go to File, Open Folder, and select the folder you want to use for this project. Here you can see that you have the Codex on the right hand side and the empty folder here. Over there we have some things we need to install before start using the Gologin with Codex. First of all, you need to install the node for your system. I'm using Windows here, so you need to download the Windows installer and just follow the installation wizard the way you would install any other program. After you have node installed, next thing is you need to install the Gologin agent browser CLI. The one way you can install it is just prompting Codex to install the agent browser CLI, but for stability purposes I'm gonna install it manually. It's pretty easy, just one command in the terminal. So open the terminal. In Visual Studio Code and paste the npm install command. You'll have all the commands I'm using here and all the prompts I'll be using here in the description below. So npm install -g gologin agent browser CLI. Let's see how it works. Just wait a couple of seconds and we are done. After that, we need to install agent browser skill. I'll be installing it from the Gologin official GitHub. So just paste this command and you'll be prompted to make a few choices, but you can just use the defaults. So click enter, select project as an installation scope, proceed with installation, and we are all done. Once that's done, the next important steps is giving Codex the right documentation. This is important because you don't want Codex guessing. You want it to understand how Gologin Cloud Browser works, how profiles are created, how proxies are attached, and so on. So I feed it the Cloud Browser docs, the profiles API docs, the proxy API docs, and the guides for creating Gologin proxy through an API. To do so, I'm gonna create an agents.md file here in the root of the folder you created for this project and paste the following content. So here I'm giving it a few rules up front. So for example, I'll tell it to always use the agent browser CLI. I'll tell it not to use local desktop profiles unless I specifically ask it to do so. For disposable tasks, create a fresh cloud profile, attach a fresh built-in US residential proxy by default, and also always stop sessions when done. That last one is pretty important. Then I'll usually add some behavior rules too, like handle cookies and banners properly, close or accept prompts sensibly, don't click random things blindly, and browse in a way that looks a bit more natural. So normal scrolling, short dwell times, occasional clicks into details, and so on. And if I want multiple browser tasks, I'll tell it to run them concurrently if limits allow. Finally, you just need to configure the Gologin token so the browser CLI can connect to your Gologin account and perform tasks for you. To do so, create a config.json file in the root folder of your computer. For Windows, it's usually local disk C -users-your username, and there create .gologin-agent-browser folder with config.json file inside of it, and just paste the following. Here is a token key with your Gologin token as a value. If you're comfortable with sharing your token with Codex, which by the way is not the best practice, you can also tell Codex to perform this task for you by giving it the following prompt. And here you can paste the token value you generated earlier. Once that's in place, the workflow is actually really simple. You just tell Codex what you want it to do in plain language, describe the tasks, describe the output you want back, and that's pretty much it. That could be screenshots, a CSV file, or an HTML file, a PDF, whatever fits your needs. Then Codex creates the profile, attaches a proxy, opens the site through Gologin, does the work, and gives you back the results. One small thing I'll add here. If you're done for the day, rotating an API token is just a good safety habit. Alright, so let's do a simple test first. I like starting with something easy, just to make sure the whole setup works. So here, I'm gonna ask Codex to create a cloud browser profile, attach a US residential proxy, open Amazon, and search for a red DeLonghi coffee maker, and then just give me a screenshot. This is a nice first check because it tests the whole chain. It shows the cloud browser is working, the proxy is attached, and the AI can actually browse sites with stronger anti-bot protection and return something useful. And the nice part is, while it's doing that, I can jump into the Gologin dashboard, click view, and literally watch the session live. Normally, AI tools struggle with this kind of protected live data because they get treated like bots. But here, the session looks much closer to a normal human behavior. We'll wait for the Codex to finish the task and get back when we have the results. Okay, now Codex has finished the task we gave it, and here is the screenshot of the Amazon page we were looking for. Okay, now let's try something a bit more realistic. A good example is a profile warmup. So here I'm asking it to create 5 profiles with US proxies and browse a handful of normal US websites in each of those for a few minutes. I'm mixing in some news sites and Wikipedia using different topics for each profile and telling it to actually read pages, click some links, and deal with prompts where needed. The point is creating more natural looking activity across multiple profiles. And again, because this all is running in the cloud, I can just open the dashboard and watch those sessions live while the work is happening. That's really nice because the browser work is happening in the background and I don't have to tie up my own machine doing it. Now let's make it a bit more practical. So here I'm asking for the top 5 price offers for a classic Comandante coffee grinder on Amazon US, and I want that turned into a nice looking comparison HTML page with product prices, useful comparison criteria, links, and visual color indicators. What happens is the AI creates the profile, attaches the proxy, opens Amazon, searches the products, gathers the data and images, then turns that into a polished HTML page. And this is where it starts getting really useful. Because now it's not just using the browser for the sake of it. It's using the browser to produce something you can actually keep and use. Let's run this and wait for the results. Here's the beautiful HTML page containing the top 5 Comandante coffee grinders from Amazon with all the details we asked for. But if you don't like the result and the result isn't exactly how you want it, you can just tweak prompt and run it again. And that's the really nice part too. The iteration loop is very, very easy. Now let's move into the stronger examples. A really good one is LinkedIn work across multiple profiles. In this case, the profiles are already logged in. I'm not showing the full login flow because credentials on video gets messy very quickly, and honestly, it's cleaner to log in once manually and then reuse those profiles. So let's run the first prompt. It launches 2 LinkedIn profiles. Scroll the feed naturally for a couple of minutes, read posts, search for a few groups, and scroll, read and like 1 to 2 posts each and join the group. Now let's run the second prompt. It launches one of those LinkedIn profiles, searches for the top 8 marketing firms based in Ontario, Canada, visits several top pages, reads their posts, then it downloads all possible info about those top 8 firms and form an HTML Airtable style CRM database we can use for marketing outreach. And now when it's finished, you can see beautiful Airtable style HTML database we can use for marketing outreach and other really interesting stuff. And that's the real workflow. Here you can literally watch the AI navigate, make choices, collect information, and then build something useful from it. The agent is working within a real browser session, a real account, and performing actual multi-step tasks. Because the browser layer runs in the cloud, this is also much easier to scale across multiple profiles. So this starts being really useful for things like sales workflows, social media work, outreach, lead gen, research, all of that. And from here, the use cases branch out pretty quickly. You can ask your AI to do something right away. You can repeat the same action across many profiles. You can build action sequences with pauses, trigger later actions based on the earlier results. You can scale up whatever workflow already works, and if something fails, you can inspect that and improve the instructions. So this is not just a gimmick. It can turn into a pretty useful operational layer. Before wrapping up, I should mention that Gologin has a few different CLIs and skills. The one I'm using here is Agent Browser, because that's the best fit for this kind of AI browser automation workflow. There's also Web Access, which adds stronger web unlocking functionality for higher volume scraping and extraction tasks. That one needs an extra web unlocker API key. And then there's Local Agent Browser, which works similarly but runs on your local desktop Gologin profiles instead of cloud ones. That can be faster and cheaper in some situations, but obviously it also depends on your own hardware. So if you want to explore further, it's worth checking out the different repos, the official Gologin documentation on AI agents, and seeing which setup fits your workflow the best. So yeah, that's the overall idea. Your AI can now work with the real web, not just easy open parts of it or the parts that expose a nice API. It can browse, click, scroll, stay logged in, interact with more protected websites, and do that across real cloud browser sessions with built-in stealth and live inspection. And that gets a lot closer to building AI automation that actually produce useful results. So, if you've already played with tools like BrowserBase or Firecrawl, think of this as the different next step. Those platforms are great for agent browsing, search, scraping, and interaction too. But this setup is really about giving your AI a persistent cloud profile workflow with proxies, stealth, and inspectable sessions that you can watch live while it works. At the moment, Gologin's cloud browser plans start at about $4 per month for starter and $10 per month for professional. And you can also request a demo from the team to discuss your use cases. So yeah, start with one small task. Test your own workflow, and if you build something interesting, share the result. Thank you for watching. All the prompts and links I mentioned are down in the description, so check them out. And if you want, like a video, drop a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.